Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lindsay from flourishingmama.com and this is week 2 of our Proverbs 31 Bible study. I'm so glad you're here and let's dig right in today. This is week 2 where we will be studying Proverbs chapter 31 verses 11 and 12. If you'd like to see week 1, you can go to my YouTube channel and find the Proverbs 31 Bible study playlist and you'll be able to see all of the weeks of the Bible study that are available now. Today we are in verse 11 and 12, which says, "The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life." When we look at this verse, we see the word trust that pops out to us pretty quickly. And trust is something in our lives that is really hard to win, but it's really easy to lose. You can spend a lot of time building a relationship with a person and then just very quickly that be gone. One mistake, one wrong word, one wrong action, and that trust is gone. The friendship could be gone, and then you have to start all over again building that from scratch. And sometimes it can never be rebuilt. Sometimes when a person is betrayed, they can never rebuild that trust again. And even if they do, there's some ways that it can never be the same. And that is really sad when it happens in a marriage, but it does. We see it happen a lot where marriages crumble and they can't be repaired, and it's always such a tragedy. And I'm not in any way trying to say that if a marriage fails, it's a woman's fault. There are a lot of reasons that marriages fail, but today I want to talk about how that we can be a trustworthy wife for our husbands, because it matters. Trust in your marriage does matter, and there are things that we can do as women to build that trust in our relationship with our husbands. We live in a society now that tells us that men and women should be equal in all things. And in some ways, they even tell us that there is no difference. We're just all the same. And not only is that not true, it's not possible, and it's not fair. It's not fair to look at your marriage and expect you and your husband to both be the same or do the same things or see things the same way, because we're wired so differently. And God made it that way. And God did not make a woman who is less than a man, or a man that is supposed to rule over a woman while she's his slave. Marriage is made to be a companionship and a partnership. One of my favorite passages in the Bible is in Genesis chapter 2. At this point, God had completed his creation. He had a beautiful world, and at every stage of his creation, he said, "This was good." God saw this was good, and God saw this was good. And God had created Adam, and he put him in this beautiful garden, and the weather was perfect. He had anything that he could want for enjoyment. He had all of the freshest fruits and the freshest vegetables, all of these things. But then God looked and saw that Adam did not have a help for himself, and that was not good. And so God put Adam to sleep and took a rib and created a woman to be his special helper. And not so that she could be his slave, but so that she could be his companion, for him to trust and for him to fill the empty places that he had in his life. And so they were there together, and she completed him. And that when God had the woman, at that point his creation was complete. God made Eve to be Adam's friend. And that is what marriage is. It's a friendship between two people, and it requires work and it requires trust. And when trust is gone in a marriage, sometimes you can't get it back again. So it's important, like it says in Proverbs 31 verse 12, "She will do him good and not evil all the days of his life." This husband is not afraid that his wife is going to use him or to abuse him in any way. He trusts her that she has his best interest at heart at all times. Now, no one has a perfect marriage. Sometimes it's easy to look around and see other people whose marriage you think is better than yours. But it's just not true. um, in most cases, you get out of your marriage what you put into it. So if you're all the time finding the negative things, then you will see more and more negative things. But if you put into your marriage a heart of servanthood, and if you put in respect, you will get those things back. And that is how we build trust. You can't build trust with someone if you're always finding fault with them, or you're always nitpicking, or you're always comparing. As the old saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you start to compare your marriage and your husband and your family and your life to other things, you will come up lacking. Because when it comes to marriage, you see everything, you see the inside. But when you're looking at another person's marriage, you're only seeing the best parts. We all put on our best parts when we go out in public. So you're only seeing the good parts. You're not necessarily seeing all of the nitty gritty in the day to day like you do in your own marriage. So we have to have that, to see those things in our marriage, to see the good things and build on those. One of the most important things that you can have in your marriage is honesty. Two people who aren't honest with each other, they cannot have a successful marriage. And it may not even be big lies. You know, there are some times where you'll hear a kid say, oh, please don't tell daddy. Let's not tell daddy this. Let's not tell daddy that. You can't build that kind of habit in your marriage of saying, let's not tell daddy. We don't keep those things a secret, because when you start to keep little secrets, or you tell little lies, like you overdraw the checking account, or you spend money that you shouldn't have spent, or just little things like that. When you start to hide those things, it can eventually build and build in your marriage until the trust slowly disintegrates. Lies always find a way out in the end. Satan wants to destroy your marriage, and he is going to do whatever he can to do that. And if that requires breaking down the trust between you and your husband, then that is what he will do. We should never allow our kids to see us in our marriage keeping secrets from our husbands or lying to our husbands. It's not a good relationship, and it's toxic, and it will eat away your marriage from the inside. But we see that in these verses, this husband who has a virtuous wife, he trusts her, and he doesn't have any reason to believe that she's lying to them. She's not spending money that he doesn't know about. She's not sneaking around to places that he doesn't know she's going. She's not talking to people on social media that he doesn't know about. There are most of us who I would say have had someone reach out to us on social media, whether it be an old boyfriend or, one of those random people, who comes across your profile, or maybe you're out in the grocery store and a man flirts with you. Keeping those things from your husband is just a small way that you can start to build distrust in your marriage. But a husband who has a virtuous woman, he is not afraid that his wife is keeping that kind of secrets from him. A virtuous woman is careful to never put herself into a situation that looks bad, or that would embarrass her husband. And I use an example for this a few years ago. We were in a situation at our church where we were just all standing around after church talking, and there was a group of people. And I was in a conversation with two men, and there were some other women standing there. And the other woman who was standing there finished her conversation, and she went out the door. And so the only people left in this room was me and these two men. And immediately I walked out. I stopped the conversation immediately and left. Not because I thought anything inappropriate would happen, but because I would never want to embarrass myself or my husband by being in that situation. And it seems small. It seems like such a silly thing. It's just a conversation between adults. But it is a small thing that Satan can use to destroy your marriage. Being able to trust his wife is so important to a man. And as women, we should make that important to us too, to be a woman whose husband can trust her, a woman who does good things for her husband. We would never want to hurt him or embarrass him. And things happen. Like I've said, your marriage is not perfect and you can't expect it to be. You will make mistakes, but always come back to your husband with that heart of servanthood and respect, and be a woman that he can trust. For our prayer prompt this week, I want you to give a lot of thought to your husband this week, the things that he does for you, the things that he does for your family, and pray for him. Pray for the parts of his life where you know that he may be weak or he may struggle. Pray that God will give him strength for the battles that he faces, but also pray for yourself. Friend, Satan is fighting you every day. He hates marriage and he hates families, and he will do whatever he can to try to destroy you. So pray for yourself, pray for your marriage, pray that God will help you and your husband to build a mutual relationship of trust and respect. Before I close out this week, I do want to give a little bit of a side note. These tips and this advice and this encouragement is for women who are in a healthy spiritual marriage. If you're in an abusive marriage, or if you have a husband who is controlling and who is not trying to honor God and follow God, these tips do not apply to you. You cannot hope to change your husband. And so if you are in an abusive relationship or in a situation where you feel unsafe, please reach out to your pastor or a trusted resource in your community and seek help and get out of that abusive situation as quickly as you can. I do hope that you've enjoyed the Bible study this week. I've enjoyed being here with you. If you like YouTube and are active on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would also really appreciate it if you could hit the share button, so any friends that you may have who you think would like this video and these Bible studies can also join with us. See you next week.